Hello, my name is James Davis from upad.co.uk. Thank you for joining us. We're also joined by Ray Boulger from Charcol Mortgage Brokers. Ray, I wanted to pick up on the amount of new developments that we're seeing, especially in London, going up left, right and centre. We've had quite a few landlords that are advertising a property. They weren't getting the amount of tenant inquiries that they did 5 years ago. When we do a search, we find out that there's like 18 other flats in the same block on the market, and it's almost flooded the space. What are your thoughts on this from a finance perspective? Because you get that mortgage based on what somebody says the rent will be, and then maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, it's almost a different environment.
Yeah, I think this can be a real problem for landlords. And if I was thinking of buying a property in a new development as a landlord, one of the questions I would want to ask the developer is what proportion of these flats are being sold to other landlords. Now, they will have a pretty good idea of that. If they're a bit reluctant to give you the answer, I'd walk away, frankly, because while some developers will offer a guaranteed rent for perhaps 2 years, why they offer it for 2 years, it's a way of locking you in, or tempting you in, I should say, and then after 2 years, you're probably going to get a lower rent. Otherwise, why wouldn't they guarantee it for longer? So I think you do have to be careful. Now, when the landlord values when the valuer values the property, the valuer is going to take a view on the rent, and if they...
At that moment in time.
Absolutely. And if they perhaps haven't done as much due diligence as they should and don't realise how many properties are going to come on the market, they may be optimistic on the rent that's achieved, although landlords will be very familiar with valuers tending to be assess rents on the opposite basis of being too pessimistic. But so if you get a mortgage based on a rental assumption that is too optimistic, and then you can't achieve that rent, once your guarantee period's over, you may have a problem. So I would be very cautious about buying that sort of property.
It's almost like it's always about doing your due diligence. You know, if there's going to be 100 flats or more that are going up, and generally there's like different phases, the whole area gets redeveloped, that environment in 3 years, 5 years' time can be so different to what it is when you first buy your flat.
Absolutely, and most lenders, in fact all lenders, will also have another risk factor to take into account when they're deciding whether to give you a mortgage or not, something called concentration risk. So if there's a new development of, say, 200 units, no one lender is likely to be prepared to lend to more than 20% typically of the units on that property. So exactly. So because the number of buy-to-let lenders is fairly significant, but nevertheless, for any one area, particularly if it's a slightly unusual property, there might be a limited choice of lender. You can quite easily run into the problem that actually the best lenders will no longer lend on that property because they've already done too much lending. So that's just another factor which the broker is going to take into account when they try and find you a mortgage.
It's all about being aware, isn't it, beforehand. Ray, thank you so much yet again. Hope you all enjoyed this short video. You can find out more from our Landlord Hub and sign up to our newsletter. Thank you very much indeed for watching.